And we're live. Welcome to the Lakers Late Night. I am Anthony Irwin. I just got off a boat, and the whole world is still going like this. Case in point, the Lakers won tonight. I don't, I don't even know where I am anymore. I am joined tonight by Harrison Fagan, who held down the fort while I was gone. Thank you very much for doing that, Harrison. How are you going to celebrate this momentous occasion?
I feel like I'm in a DJ Khaled Snapchat. I feel really inspirational and motivated, and we're the best, man. We beat the team that beat the undefeated team.
And that non-DJ Khaled, it might have been DJ Khaled letting out a fart. There's a Dakota.
That is an accurate way to describe that.
That was just a groan.
How's it going, Dakota? Are you holding up at least decently well?
It could be a lot better, especially if the Bucks didn't lose by 20 against the Lakers after beating one of the best teams statistically of all time on Saturday.
Yeah, this is peak NBA. I don't think the NBA will get any drunker than it did over the last, 3 games for the various franchises where, yeah, you guys beat the Golden State Warriors amidst the greatest start in NBA history, and then turn around and lose to the Lakers amidst the worst start in their franchise's history. Are the highs too high, the lows too low? I mean, how are you even experiencing this?
The Bucks' new catchphrase should be, "We beat the best, we lose the worst." Like, the Bucks beat 2 teams that were in the NBA Finals last year. They beat the Cavs, they beat the Warriors, and now this. I have no idea what's going on with this team. It's just a game of rock, paper, scissors every single game. I have no idea what's going on, but it's going to be a pleasure to talk about whatever happened tonight with you guys.
We'll get to a few more specifics on both sides of the night tonight, but there's no way Greg Monroe's that important to the Bucks, right? Like, he's not. It was just a fluke, worst performance of the season. That's how that goes.
Yeah, because nobody anticipated the Lakers to look like this. They look like an actual competent basketball team, moving the ball, working around the perimeter. Kobe looked like it was like 2004 again, and it was just a crazy night.
Did the Lakers wind up winning their fans tacos? Yeah, they got them tacos. Hey.
This segment is sponsored by Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box, we expect our check.
Here's a terrible commercial for you. Harrison, you had mentioned that the ball was moving around and that it took 25 games for the Lakers to install an offense that basically anybody who's ever watched this team anywhere near to closely wanted them to run pick and roll, right?
Yeah, well, this was why everyone to begin the season was saying this would be a really exciting, fun young team if only Mike D'Antoni were still the coach. Because we knew after watching Summer League, Byron was trying to shoehorn these guys into the Princeton, and it just didn't look like it was going to work. And you can't necessarily judge a team's prospects off of Summer League, but it looked really bad, and it didn't play to the strengths of the young players. These guys need to be out and running. They need to be in transition. They need to especially Russell needs to be running pick and rolls. That's his main value on the floor right now, is as the primary ball handler, and then they start the season with him at shooting guard. It just made no sense. And somehow it got worse from there. But then now it's looking a lot better. They're running an offense that fits him much better, and he's getting the minutes that he needs and the touches that he needs. He's actually, I think, led the team in usage rate over the last couple games. He's either led or been second. So just good signs overall.
Let me take a look at his line really quick. He put together I'm sorry, I was looking at the starters. My bad, Byron.
19 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals.
3 steals.
With only one turnover.
One turnover. And at the beginning of the season, The narrative surrounding him was, well, he's a bust. The game is too fast for him. Blah 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 blah. But hey, how many times is it going to take us reminding people don't judge rookies off of their first week in the NBA? Now, the flip side of that, Dakota, I'll bring you back into the conversation. I was watching the game, and maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but I had to ask you before we went live, hey, was Jabari Parker playing? Was he in there? And he wasn't very quiet tonight. 26 minutes, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Was this just a bad game for him? Run of the mill? What was going on there?
I think this is 12 points of 4 for 9 shooting has basically been run of the mill for Parker, active on the offensive glass. Still needs to work on his defensive game, especially when he's going against such guys like Randall and whomever that love to attack the basket. He needs to build up his awareness a bit on the defensive end, but this has been a typical game for Jabari as he tries to improve on this game. But from what I saw, nailing a couple, I think 1 or 2 mid-range jumpers and being aggressive on the off the glass, that's what we expect, Bucks fans, I guess, expect from Jabari.
Now, the opposite of that was the case with Giannis Antetokounmpo, which yes. I had to I made sure to practice his name as much as I possibly could before we went live here. He just
wait, Dakota, did he get it right before we move on?
He did say Giannis Antetokounmpo, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because you said you practiced a lot, so it would have been really humiliating if you still messed it up.
It'd be funny if I messed it up.
And it's good that I know how to pronounce his last name because I just said on Twitter I care more about Giannis than I do most of my relatives. So.
Now the thing that strikes me the most about Giannis while he's out there is that like every time I see him, he seems to get longer and longer and longer. I feel like by the time I see him next game, he's gonna be Yao effing Ming out there.
Seriously, is he almost 7 feet now? He looks like he's.
Well, Greg Monroe is listed at 6'11", 6'10", and Giannis I think is an inch taller than Monroe, so I think he's 7 feet.
Yeah, he looked huge out there. When the first possession when he lined up against Kobe, I was like, "Why is John Henson guarding Kobe?" Wait a second.
Well, was it Henson? I think it was Giannis who contested Kobe on that one crazy high arcing shot.
The moon ball.
Yeah, that. There's no way that Kobe was going to get that shot off without throwing it, grazing
into the
roof.
sun.
Yeah, it was nuts. Now, I did want to, because I think there's an interesting conversation to go on between Giannis and Jordan Clarkson. And I thought the two of those, when I asked you before we went live, Dakota, you had brought up Clarkson as the guy that you noticed the most of the Lakers, young core. I think Clarkson is a year or two older than Giannis, but I feel like they're on a somewhat. I could see that their career arcs kind of following a similar path. Is that crazy for me to say?
I wouldn't say it's too crazy. I think because this is Giannis' third season, I think he's a little more far off on this road than Clarkson is. Mm-hmm. But both players, how they, were anticipated coming into the league, I think they have both, majorly exceeded expectations, throughout their career, and especially now when they're, so young.
Giannis is younger than Clarkson, correct?
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
He's gonna turn 21 this week, I think.
That's
wow.
Crazy. Yeah. Holy crap. All right.
I don't think the world was ready for drunk Giannis.
I'm gonna sign on there. I'm gonna create a Snapchat account just for drunk Giannis.
Can you imagine the first time he tasted a smoothie, he posted one of the greatest NBA tweets of all time. I went to the club tonight. It was fantastic. I love America.
That's phenomenal. Good. Well, all right. So we'll talk a little bit more about Giannis then, because he's such an interesting player to watch out there. He's so long. I mean, it's almost fitting he plays for the Bucks because when he runs out there, he looks like a deer or a gazelle who's just like learning how to run. Holy shit! There's a cheetah behind me. Holy crap! Harrison, I mean, when you're watching him out there, and they have Jabari Parker on their team already, and Parker was already pretty quiet tonight. And I'm not going to judge Parker coming off of a year-ending injury the way he did this year. And this was by far the worst game the Bucks will play all season collectively. But Giannis has to be, at his age, length, skill level, all that, a top 5 prospect at his age in the NBA, I'd say.
He's certainly up there. Who do you think? What age range are you going to go from? Like,
I'm talking about he's at 20. If he's at 21 and younger, right?
Yeah.
If we're talking 21 and younger, you know, I can't think of, you know, very many players his age I'd want to see grow over the next decade or so, right?
Yeah.
Well, if we're going 21 or younger, then I think I probably have Townsend Porzingis ahead of him, for sure.
I said top 5, so.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking out loud. And then,
Wiggins,
if Russell
keeps
playing like he did tonight, then maybe him too.
Yeah. All right, so maybe I'm wrong. But he's still an insanely fun player.
Oh, yeah,
to watch.
he's top 10 for sure. I was just trying to think out like top 5.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm still stuck on the ship, guys. So pardon all the stuff here.
One thing I noticed with Giannis is, aside, like, usually he just likes to attack the rim, which, you know, would have been, you know, solid against Kobe. If Kobe was to play him, good grief. But Giannis was more comfortable with shooting mid-range jumpers, which has been something that he's been working on since he was a rookie.
I did notice he suffers from the same kind of issues all tall players kind of deal with, in that they're afraid to elevate on their jumper because otherwise you're talking almost throwing the ball down at the basket. So I think that's something he'll have to really work on rhythmically to figure out as he develops that jumper.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to steer the conversation more towards, all right, so you have the Bucks core of Giannis, Parker, I guess Carter Williams, John Henson.
Can you put Milton in there?
That face you made when you said Carter Williams says everything that you need for our iTunes listeners. he made the same face Jahlil Okafor made when he was handed a 76ers jersey.
Listen, Carter Williams is the point guard of my team right now, but you better believe I'm looking at Chris Dunn, I'm looking at Jamal Murray, I'm looking at these, you know, college point guards right now. I'm cheating on MCW, and I'm proud of it.
Now we had this conversation a little bit with Tom.
Are we just going to ignore that he said cheating on MCW?
I'm proud of it.
Bucks Fidelity. That's this year on E. But we had this conversation with Tom Fear on the last show I was on before I stupidly went on a cruise. About, you know, the futures of then it was the Minnesota Timberwolves, this time it'll be the Bucks. I feel like at this point with the Lakers trio of Clarkson, Russell, Randall, and not just based off of this game here because it wouldn't be fair at all, but I think it's pretty easily ahead of the core that I'm looking at with the Bucks. Dakota, I'll go to you second. Go ahead, Harrison.
I mean, I'm incredibly biased because I watch every Laker game, and I think I've seen probably 2 games total, including tonight, of the Bucks this year.
Was one of them Saturday?
I saw part of Saturday, and then I saw part of another one that I forget who they were playing. So, like, half and half.
Okay.
So I would say the Lakers, but I acknowledge my bias in that. I'm curious to hear what you have to say, Dakota.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've watched some Laker games, and I hate to be biased here, but you know what? You caught me on the spot here. I'm thinking because I love Giannis, I love Jabari, and then Milton.
Just to be perfectly clear to the audience listening right now, I have it written down here: Bucks Lakers futures. I had said you can't say I put you on the spot when I wrote down futures.
All right. But yeah, in terms of what they can potentially be, I would have to. It hurts me. It hurts me deep inside, but I have to go with the Lakers.
The thing I worry a little bit about is I don't know if Giannis and Parker can play together because they both feel like stretch fours. Unless Giannis becomes a legit, 3-point threat. It's the same kind of issue with, like right now, the conversation with the Lakers is win 10 for Ben, Simmons. And they would run into the same kind of issue where both guys are probably best suited to play in that mid-post facilitator role. You can't play both those guys together.
Simmons is basically a beefed-up version of Giannis.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I would completely agree.
But one of them has to get range. Giannis I think he's shooting like 30% from beyond the arc, but he's not shooting a ton from there. But he's just working where he's comfortable, and that's cutting to the basket. Same with Jabari, but eventually, you're gonna, if you want to be a playoff team, you're gonna have more than one perimeter shooter in your starting lineup. And if we wanted to have Jabari and Giannis to be together for the future, I think one of them has to at least be 34-35% shooter from beyond the arc.
Completely agree. All right, so before we move on to Harrison's favorite game and there is no smugger person than Byron Scott after a Lakers win, so that's going to be fun. But I did want one of the things I had brought up in a previous show was how we'd yet to experience one of those games where you don't really have many complaints. Like right now, it's like, well, Kobe played 27 minutes. I'm all right with that. Russell played 30. Randall, I guess, played on the low end. He only played 25 minutes. But the Lakers wind up winning convincingly, and everybody that I wanted to watch play well essentially did, right, Harrison?
Pretty much. Even Clarkson, he didn't shoot the best tonight, but he looked really fast out there, which is good to see after he's just coming back from an ankle injury. It didn't look like he had any residual fear about that ankle or like he was kind of gimping around and had forced it too soon. He looked ready to go. I saw they were working on it in the fourth quarter, but I think that's probably just standard stuff after coming out of a game. Because he looked good. Like his movement looked good.
Yeah, and even Hibbert, I thought Hibbert came out. It was almost like a Roy Hibbert revenge game, even though he never played for Milwaukee. He was out there doing whatever he could. That was the most energy I'd seen him from him in a little while.
His playmaking was pretty good tonight too, I thought. His passing and facilitating the offense.
I would agree. So Dakota, you write for both sites, Bucks and Lakers, and I'll give you a chance at the end of the show to plug all that you do for both. Which team? We've already done the futures question. Who is more fun to watch night in, night out, would you say?
This season?
Yes.
I love the Bucks. I love watching Giannis. He's one of my favorite players in all sports, but I have to go with the Lakers. Simply for the Kobe retirement tour, being unsure of what it's going to be, but this is our last 50 games that we're going to see of one of the premier basketball players of our era. So just for that, and watching Russell develop seemingly on a game-by-game basis, seeing Randall be an absolute monster with how he works on offense, and seeing Clarkson just be so smooth on the offense and be so smooth and integral as your man Drew Garrison loves to talk about on a daily basis on Twitter. I have to go with the Lakers, even with how much I do love the Bucks.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me. I can't lie. All right, Harrison, let's go ahead and do it. Byron quotes.
Going to the Byron quotes. There actually was not much tonight. It's surprisingly positive. He said that he said that Kobe's been a good leader, and that it was good that like the key to their resurgence is that Kobe was willing to step to the side and let the young players play. And I kind of feel like he's ignoring the fact that that should not have necessarily been Kobe's decision, but I guess there's that. He said that he thinks Russell has the stuff to be a great leader, so I guess that's why he waited until 20 games in to put the ball in his hands and is still benching him.
Oh, man. I love you, Byron. You're the bestest.
And I guess Kobe was in such a good mood after the game that he hugged Janice Carr of the OC Register as he was walking out of his post-game interview. And Nick Young is telling people to vote for Kanye. The last one is just that was fun. That has nothing to do with anything, but I can just say that, and you guys instinctively believe me because it's Nick Young, and it's
All right.
true.
Here's a fun game then, and we'll end on this. You have 10 seconds to figure this out. I'm putting you guys on the spot. What is more likely to happen, because Nick Young is apparently vying for both publicly? Kanye West being elected president, or Nick Young being elected Defensive Player of the Year?
Kanye, 100%.
Does this vice president count in this? Count?
Sure, why not?
I have to go with the ticket of Will Smith and Kanye for 2020. That's going to be a ticket. That's going to be a viable ticket in 2020. Will Smith, freshman, Kanye. I much rather have that than Nick Young as Defense Player of the Year.
The sad part is that I think I agree. Like, I agree with both of you. I think it's a way higher possibility that Kanye wins than
Nick Young is never in a million years going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Kanye, Trump is the leader for the Republican Party right now. Kanye, I don't see how Kanye can do worse.
All right, guys, there you have it. Kanye West 2020. Write it down. Put it in stone. All right. Well, thank you very much, Dakota, for joining us tonight. This was a lot of fun. We'll have to get you on a Lakers lounge or something in the near future. Tell us about all that you're doing across the NBA.
I've been taking a break for personal reasons, but I do stuff for B-Ball Breakdown, Ridiculous Upside for the D-League part, and just any place will let me write about basketball, I will write about basketball. So yeah, at Dakota_Schmidt on Twitter.
There you go. And just for those of you who wonder like how to get a footing in writing about sports, period, what Dakota just said hit it right on the head. Don't turn down any jobs. Anytime somebody says, hey, do you want to write about something? Take it and use that opportunity. Harrison, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you very much for handling the shows over the weekend. Anything new that you're working on?
Not currently. I did a look into to Julius Randle's struggles the last couple games, but while D'Angelo Russell was in the starting lineup, and it was kind of shown to be a little bit. I was onto something with what was going on tonight versus what we saw when Russell was mostly split up from Julius. And I think the biggest thing was that teams actually have to pay attention to him when D'Angelo Russell is running pick and rolls with him, whereas when it was, one of the other guys running on the bench with Julius and Sacre, teams were just completely ignoring Big Rob to help on Julius and just put a wall up in front of the rim. So
that's good stuff. All right, that's something to definitely pay attention to moving forward. I am Anthony Irwin. Again, Harrison Fagan, Dakota Schmidt. You guys, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. This was a pretty well-watched show, and pay attention for whatever we have coming next for this week's Laker Lounge. I'll talk to everybody soon.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.